Welcome, kindred. It's Jessica, and it is just coming up to the Pisces full moon. And since the Virgo new moon, I've been on a healing journey, and I've seen a few people doing that 9-card spread here on TarotTube on YouTube. So I thought I would do that whilst kind of sitting with my feelings in this Pisces new moon space. I'm very much on a healing journey, on a clearing of old hurt, old pain journey. So it'll be really interesting to see what cards come out. It's vulnerable always and awkward doing personal readings like in a public medium like this is on YouTube, but I really love seeing people do these kinds of readings. I think it's really valuable for beginner readers, but also for like more experienced readers too, to see people doing these readings. So I saw Meg, Honey Rose Ritual, doing this like I think about a month ago or so now, and then Dawn Michelle popped up when I logged into YouTube today with her version of the tag. So I was like, right, okay, let's just do this tag. Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about the Pisces full moon apart from just to say that I expect you're feeling it. I find like Pisces being mutable water feels really kind of, there's a lot of emotion, and also with Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac, it's got a very like entropic blending with the universe kind of vibe. And you know, we are conjunct Neptune, not super tight but fairly tight in the same sign at the moment, which also has that kind of like dissolving, dissipating. So it's like emotions can like come and spill out. So I don't know how I'll be with this reading, but hopefully it won't be too hyper emotional, but it will be cleansing and connecting with all that is. I talked about that a little bit in my last video, in the moon magic video. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, maybe go and watch that video. I did also just want to make a little note. I've got the chart of the full moon here, and I wanted to talk just a tiny little bit. I'll get on with the reading. I am kind of putting it off because it's going to be vulnerable, but I just wanted to say a little tiny bit about the fact that we've got so many planets retrograde at the moment. And you probably will have heard, you know, if you're in the kind of like witchy or woo-woo community, you probably will have heard people talking about the retrogrades. And I was thinking about them this morning, and I thought, what about, like, and lots of people have said, like, don't be scared of the retrogrades because, you know, planets retrograde a lot. It is really unusual to be as we are now with so many planets retrograding at the same time. And because of that, I feel like it's giving us an opportunity. I was thinking this morning, like, what is it? And it's like a reframe came to me of it as a labyrinth. And it's like at the moment, the retrogrades are giving us that chance to like spiral in on the labyrinth, and then when the planets start to move forward again, we will spiral back out of the labyrinth. And like, and no one would see that spiraling in part of the labyrinth as being like pointless or annoying or frustrating, which is some of the words that people use about the retrograde sometimes. So yeah, I was just hoping, I wanted to share that little reframe just in case that is helpful. And now I will stop gabbling on and I will get on with doing the reading. Dawn Michelle used the Barbara Walker for her reading, but I am not as brave. So I was feeling something a little bit more gentle, so I'm going to use the Light Seers. Although I say a little more gentle, I find this deck is really good for all kinds of readings. So let's see what's going to come up. So I'll lay the cards face down just like Meg did in her version of the tag. This has been, it was Meg that made it into a tag, but this spread is a spread that, oh gosh, losing loads of cards. This is a spread that has been around for a long time. Like I've seen Kelly Truth and Story use this a long time ago. And like, I love a 9-card spread. I think it's probably not the best for beginners, but like a 3-card spread is amazing and also amazing for beginners. And like a 9-card is a 3 times 3 card spread, isn't it? So you get the gorgeousness of the 3-card, and you can read it, you know, you read it across, you can read it down. It gives a lot. Okay, so I'm not asking anything specific. I'm just going to use the spread positions, but I kind of feel like this is a reading for me that is going to be about what is going on in this moon cycle, especially around this Pisces full moon. and that kind of idea for me that has come up of like healing of trauma and being on a journey. And you know, this should give me a good picture. The way that the spread positions are, it's a good one for like just kind of seeing where things are, where you are with things, I guess, at the moment. Okay. Okay. So I'll lay the cards down, face down first. So we have past, present, future. And then we have earth, air, fire, water. And for me, like, I feel like that's the kind of physical, mental, emotional, spiritual take on things. I hope I'm going to have enough room for all these cards. That's the only issue with trying to film a 9-card spread, is that you do run out of space pretty quick. And then we have like what is helping and what is like hindering. And then there is, when Sylvan did it, he took a card from the bottom of the deck as well. So I'll leave those there and I'll come back and take one off the bottom of the deck afterwards. So let me just check that you can see all of those. So you kind of can, yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Okay. So let's go. We've got past. Okay. So in the past, we've got Knight of Wands, and like it's very much fiery. I'm loving this horse imagery here as well, and the drums. Like, I feel like it's saying like in the past I was kind of connecting in with spirit, definitely, and with that kind of like creative energy, and was feeling very inspired and like connected and in tune with all these wands and that kind of fiery energy. And also like horse is very important to me as a symbol of the divine. So although interesting, the horse is like coming across here to my present card, so it'll be interesting to see what comes up here as well. But yeah, I feel like it was saying like in the past I was like connected, I was tuned in to that, and really like her eyes are closed, she's just really like in the moment and really just channeling that creative spark, that divine energy in the moment. And that is something that like I feel like I do that now sometimes, but it's not as easy now, because it just feels more complicated, you know, with it being a night as well. It's like that almost like young adult kind of stage of life where you feel like you've got the world is kind of at your feet, kind of, you know, you are not afraid of anything. And I definitely don't feel like that anymore now, as I'm like kind of in a more mature stage of my life. Not that you don't, you know, it would be lovely to hold on to that. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes up. But I feel like that is where I'm going. Like in the past, there was this kind of like just connection, this infusion, this just being in the flow, in that creative, fiery flow of divine energy. Yeah. Yeah, look how the hand is there, and it's almost like the light is shining out of her finger. Yeah. It's just that gorgeous feeling, you know, that I hope everyone watching has experience of, just being in that, knowing your place in the whole kind of divine cosmos, and just feeling that your creativity is part of this amazing creative web that is all around us. Okay, but in the past, so boo-hoo. Let's see what is going on with the rest of it. So this is the present. Okay, so the Devil card has been coming up for me a lot since 2020, really. It's kind of been a bit of a stalker card. Like, look, that this is a really like gorgeous Devil card. It has still definitely got those kind of Rider-Waite associations. If you notice this figure here with the string just very loosely, but it almost looked like if that wasn't there, you would just see this kind of invitation into like, I can take you back here. If you know, come to me and I can reinstate this feeling of being part, you know, look at the stars in his hair. It's like the cosmos is here, you know, there's star symbols, there's lots of symbolism on his body. But then you look more closely and there is this, there's something definitely being held back, and perhaps it is not as kind of simple as it seems. Like some decks, like I've drawn this devil card a lot in my Santa Muerte tarot, which I use for working with my ancestors, and in that deck, in the guidebook, it says about the devil being like the most creative card, because it's like just anything can happen, there's no rules, kind of, you know. So I do feel that creative energy, but I also feel like I feel tied, and I do feel tied. I feel like I'm being held back, and I feel like I'm being held back by things which are keeping me tied to the past, like past trauma, past pain, things like that. So yeah, really, really interesting. Definitely tapping in with the astrology for now as well. When you think about Jupiter retrograde in Aries, I feel like if we look here, there's like a ram figure on here, and I think there's like that kind of, I'm being invited, he's inviting me now to see why I'm not here anymore, and it's possible to turn that around, to change things around. So yeah, really, really interesting card. Also interesting, I think, that his other hand, you can't quite see what's going on. Like, is there something behind his back that he doesn't want us to see, you know? So it's definitely it's an ambivalent card, isn't it? And that is how I feel. I do feel kind of ambivalent, like a bit afraid, also tied, also hopeful. There's all of that is like going on here, and that is a perfect, you know, a major card right in the center of the reading to really focus where I am right now. Yeah, it's really, just really on point. And like I say, it's a card that has been definitely around for me for like 2 years now. So interesting. Okay, so let's have a look at the future. King of Cups. So that is a lot more, well, very Piscean for a start, with all this water energy, and it's almost like a singing bowl. And I wonder sometimes, like, is he scrying? Is he making magic in that bowl? You know, there is this like just calm, but like definitely that kind of Piscean, I know I'm connected with everything, and through the water is the divine, and through the water I touch, like, look at all these lines like coming out from his heart, and that is exactly where I feel like I'm focusing at the moment, is like releasing those kind of like heart things. Like, I'm going to make a video in a bit more detail about what has been going on for me this month since the Virgo new moon, but yeah, that is a very kind of personal, I don't know how much I'm going to share in that video, but I'm going to try and be as open about it as possible, because I want to kind of show how basically how I kind of like weave magic into my everyday life, how I follow omen threads, how I like be guided by the divine and by magic, I guess, through my daily life. So yeah, I'm kind of getting off point, but this feels like, look how in this card it's like orange, and then the orange is focused here now on his chest, on his torso, and it is like that a more mature, for sure, you know, we've got the king here from the knight here, and a much more like controlled, but not like in a like too much control kind of way, like controlled in a good way, like that energy, that power is there, and making decisions and things from a place of knowledge, of connection. We've got lots of symbolism, like fish symbolism, things going on here. There's divine connection and awareness and love, so much love for all that is, you know. And that little boat kind of, you know, reminiscent of this horse. We've got this little boat that's kind of going off into the distance, and it's like there's not a fear of like what comes after, because he knows his place in all that is. And yeah, that's a really lovely that's a really lovely future card. The future card I always find is a little bit like, because you don't you don't want something not very nice to be turning up there. But I'm extremely happy. Sorry about my fingers, I was picking elderberries earlier and I've got like staining, so apologies for that. Okay, so now there's the 4 element cards here. We've got earth, air, fire and water. So let's have a look. So earth first. Wow. So we've got another major here. We've got the Magician as the Earth card. And I love this Magician in this deck. It's so much more bigger, I think, sometimes than the Magician card on the like Rider-Waite-Smith, which, you know, is supposed to be with the sort of physical symbology and everything of that card is supposed to be like kind of you're an alchemist, you are in the web of everything and you've got everything at your disposal to make things happen. But I find this card more respectful of the fact that it's not just like us making things happen. We make things happen in connection, in relation with all that is, with the great goddess, with the, you know, whatever you choose to call that. And yeah, I find this card very inspiring for that. It's like it goes in, it goes out, you know, it really, and I love it as an earth card as well. It's interesting, isn't it? So like my kind of grounding, my physical earthiness is very much connected to this magician idea of alchemy, of being able to change things into something else and of working with the divine to make that happen. Yeah, and of giving and receiving very much as well in this card. You know, we've got that kind of flow of giving and receiving. And, you know, the lemniscate there as well is exciting for me, actually, because working on my physical healing, on my physical body is definitely something that is on point for me here. So I'm loving that as something that is coming up for me in that earth sphere. Yeah. So far, some really cool cards, but there are others here. So let's see. So let's see what we've got here. All right. Okay. So Seven of Swords, that lovely card, which, you know, so often can mean like deceit, can mean kind of, like literally deceit, like somebody who's cheating on somebody, or somebody who's like not quite telling you the whole picture, or maybe even sort of stealing, things like that. That can come up with this Seven of Swords card. But I've actually had quite a different experience with the Seven of Swords just this last month when I drew it from the Hidden Realm. I haven't got that to hand now to show you, but if you do have that deck, the Seven of Swords card has got a slightly different spin on it, which has like opened it up for me. But what I am noticing a lot about this card is the crows, Dark Goddess, not so much Morrigan as Hecate potentially coming forward for me at the moment to help me with this healing. And I feel like it is saying like there is mental these ideas, these feathers are like thoughts, difficult thoughts, dangerous thoughts, which I am still carrying with me, and I'm still like looking with a knife and everything. He looks like he's going to defend himself if he has to, and I'm on the defensive. I'm on the defensive about things like thought patterns and stuff that I'm still kind of holding on to. But the fact that these feathers are coming out and like this crow is there, like no, it's time to, you know, it's like, core, come on. Let's change this way of thinking. And it's so on point because I have actually booked, I've been thinking of doing this for years, and I have actually booked my first ever therapy session. I'm going to have a therapy session today. And I saw Queen Osset, or his girl, talking about having therapy months ago now, and I thought, wow, if Queen Osset is having therapy, if it's good enough for Queen Osset, then it's definitely good enough for me. So I still didn't book it. I looked at a few different people up online and everything, and I'm gonna give it a try anyway. So I'm starting that this afternoon. And I'm nervous about it. I am really nervous about it. But I feel like this card coming up for me here in that air realm, that kind of mental realm, is saying, look, you need to be open. You need to be honest. You need to start flicking those feathers, you know. And that's just made me think of the whole kind of Egyptian weighing of the feathers against the heart as well, you know. I don't want to be carrying around anything extra that is not helping me, that is not useful to me anymore. So yeah, and I love that the sun is kind of like shining down. It's like, you need to, you're not going to be able to hide. He looks very kind of skullduggery, or she looks very kind of skullduggery-ish in this card. But with that light streaming down, it's like, no, this is a change point. And I find sevens are very much like a change point. So yeah, interesting. And definitely, I know I need to work on this. I'm already kind of working on this. I've started seeing somebody about changing my diet and things like that. I've asked for help, which is such a thing for me, which I find so difficult. I know many of us do find that so difficult, but I have got help for that now, and I'm going to follow the program that they're suggesting for me. But yeah, this is something that I'm like, oh, and I think it's saying to me, I've got to be really open, really honest, and be willing to examine my kind of thought patterns and to share them, and to not be like keeping it all to myself, keeping it all hidden. So yeah, probably a little bit too much information, maybe, I don't know. So apologies if that's the case. Let's look at the fire card. Oh, this is another card that this year is like, get on with it, get on with it, get on with it. Eight of Wands, especially for my ancestors. They are on my back to get on with stuff. I love this particular Eight of Wands because like normally it's like they're all pointing in the same direction. It's like, come on. It's almost like they're pushing you, or even like flying at you. Sometimes it can feel like things are just going too quickly. But this one, I see them all coming to this point, and it's almost like just like a focusing in on that gorgeous, like, I feel like when this one's going to come, everything's going to ignite and something really exciting is going to happen. So yeah, definitely relating back here as well when we think of the Knight of Wands and this card as well. So yeah, it's exciting, and a little bit like, I know I've got to get on with things. I want to be clearing things out. Oh, sorry, there's somebody at the door. Hopefully my husband will get it, but we'll see. Yeah, he is. Good. Okay, so I don't think that really needs any like dwelling on it, apart from it is like, this is happening. And like my spiritual life, even when like kind of the physical and the mental stuff is needing sorting out, and it'll be interesting to see what comes up in the water position for like the more emotional side of things as well, because definitely that's something I know I need to work on. But the creative, the kind of spiritual side of things is something which it keeps me going, it sustains me. So I always feel like my connection with the divine is kind of like on point. Like that's why I do all the other things. That's why I can't just switch off and be like, yeah, okay, I'll just kind of zombify through my life. It's like they won't let me, she won't let me do that. So yeah, there's that Eight of Wands. Okay, let's have a look at, oh wow, okay, so for the water I've got King of Swords, which is really interesting considering he is a King of Air, and we've got this King of Cups here as the future. So that's a really interesting like flow of cards there, isn't there? Like, so King of Swords here, and it's, again, I feel like it's relating back to here where we've got that other Swords card. There is definitely, I've come to that place now where I've realized that mentally, I understand why I feel the way I feel, why I have acted certain ways, why I have, you know, sometimes buried things down, sometimes like not process things and kind of let go of them, why I hold on as well, you know, to some things. The Crow is here again. And that's really like good from a mental perspective, but it can lead to like being fixed and kind of stuck in with those things. Like wherever this guy's going or this girl is going, she's taking those things with, you know, whereas he's like much more stationary. He's like thinking about it. He's ready if he needs to be doing any kind of like, with it being the king as well, it's like, I feel like he's got that kind of grounded. It's like, I suppose what I'm trying to get at is that I've gone as far as I can thinking about the emotions. And I've reached that kind of level of maturity of thinking about the emotions, but that does not allow transformation. What I need for transformation of those emotions is this King of Cups. So I'm so glad that is something that is coming in the future. I'm a little bit scared by this, not scared, that's probably taking it a little bit too far, but like, you know, there's this, and like this figure with the hood, yeah, kind of looks like this figure here. You could imagine that being this person. So it's the thoughts that are locked here that are kind of keeping me unable to like fully dance freely with the devil if I wanted to. Yeah, it's interesting. That's something that I'll come back to. I'll probably do some journaling around that as well, to see, and I'll probably look in the guidebook as well to see a little bit more about what Chrisanne says about that particular devil card, because it is an unusual devil card. So yeah, there is the past, present, future, and all of the elements. And let's look at, so we had what is healing, what is helping me and what is not helping. So should we have a look at what is not helping first? I think that's actually the wrong way around, but okay, so we've got the Ten of Swords, which is a controversial card in this deck because it's one that actually got changed from the original edition to now, because people found it so just frightening, really. And I actually really love this new Ten of Swords. It's beautiful, and also kind of, look how lonely she looks. There's like nothing in the landscape. The birds are all facing in the same direction as well, and like kind of going off in that direction, but there doesn't seem to be like communication between the figure and the birds either. It's like, what is not helping is staying alone and not reaching out, what is not helping is not being in connection when I'm looking for help. And that is why I find myself kind of like, obviously there's more help here. There's an owl, there's a butterfly, there's a bat, there's a bird, you know. Allies have brought in here, and this air card is telling me like I needed to have allies to be able to work through this. I'm not like alone in this. I can. So what is not helping me is trying to go it alone. And that is something that I've learned over the last couple of years as well, as long as this guy's been stalking me, is that I need to be connected with other people, and that really helps me to move forward, because otherwise I'll just kind of like go round and round and keep my cards really close to my chest, you know. I think it's kind of a side effect of being like a little bit, when you are witchy, because you are different and you are a bit strange. And so the natural thing is, well, for me, I shouldn't speak for other people, I find for me the natural thing is to kind of hide it a little bit and to try and just be a little bit more secretive is probably taking it a little bit too far, but no, I suppose no, secretive is probably fair, you know, because I do a lot of things that I don't talk to other people about, because I don't have any problem keeping secrets. I'm excellent at it, but sometimes it's not the secret. Being secretive about certain things is not helpful, because that keeps them kind of locked in, as secrets are supposed to be, you know, hidden. And if in order for healing to happen, those things need to be brought out. So let's see what is helping then. It'd be really interesting to see how that relates to this. And we've got the Page of Swords, which is like almost, I find this card almost like Fool-like in this deck. And, you know, we've got swords again, literally the following on card. So it's like moving from this kind of place of extreme loneliness and isolation to like reading, but also like having all these ideas, different ideas, exposing myself to other people's ideas as well, and taking risks, you know, like not mega scary risks, because like it's not an open abyss. It has got this little like sword to make your way across. So like using old ideas to come to a different place, come to a different understanding. And I feel like I am doing that. I am looking outside of my original way of understanding. Like I am trying things. I'm trying the therapy. I've gone to this guy who's like a naturopath to help with the physical stuff as well. And I'm not trying to go it alone. These two are reminding me of two friends that I am in very close contact with, you know, most days we speak. And it makes me feel not like this, not isolated, not hopeless. So yeah, that's really beautiful. And there is one last card, even though it's that 9-card spread. We also look at the bottom of the deck. So let's see. Oh, yeah. So I'm not this anymore. but where I'm heading is this, the Queen of Wands. And look, like she is in the flow here of all that is, and she's going with it. The Queen of Wands is in the flow of all that is, but she is calling the dance now, you know. Wow. Wow. Okay, that's made me a little bit like, yeah, that feels like a absolutely gorgeous, and like King of Cups and Queen of Wands, I don't know if you can see it if I put it here, maybe you can, is a gorgeous pairing, isn't it? That is water and fire and a hell of a lot of magic. Yeah, really interesting. So what also I like to look at when I do readings like this, especially when you're using a lot more cards, like when you do a 3-card reading, it's always good to do this as well, but it's almost kind of a little bit less telling because it's only 3 cards. But when you do a larger spread, it's good to look like what didn't come out. And no Pentacles came out. I got some cups, I certainly got wands, I certainly got swords, but no Pentacles. A couple of majors, quite a few courts, and all high numbers, I guess, and apart from if you're looking at the Magician. So it definitely feels more like a kind of end to a part of the cycle that is happening. And like I'm seeing this, because this is a number 1 card, I'm seeing this as being like, because I have started this physical journey that I'm on now with a physical healing journey as well. So yeah, I hope that that was useful and that you enjoyed that. I'll try and link another playlist of where I've done other readings and stuff like this as well, because I know it can be really helpful to see people who are like used to reading the cards, because it just shows that, you know, you can do it as well. There's no special like weird magic involved in here. It is reading, and once you learn it, and feel it and let it come through you, then you can trust it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon.